Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Masculine Rebirth YouTube channel. Don't forget to click subscribe when you watch it. Please subscribe, like, comment, give me your thoughts. So today I want to talk about presence versus performing. This is something that I've only really come into my awareness through watching this guy's videos, but it's also been something I've been inquiring deeply into for a while now, mainly due to being a father. It's probably been the big one, is like performing fatherly duties versus being a father with presence. And this also goes way more out than just in the role of father. Happens in your relationship. So as a man or a woman, are you performing or are you in presence? So are you just performing for your man, or are you performing for your woman, and you're trying to be a certain way when you're not that? And so to be authentic would be to not be certain ways, and you're really trying to be someone that you're not. You're trying to be qualities, you're trying to be values that are kind of almost out of alignment with who you are. And that's performing. You're in a performance. You're performing like you're acting. And you know, so many people get into relationships and they want to be with a certain person, and they start performing. They just start performing. They start to be who they're not. And then it starts to break down the sense of self, because you're trying to be someone who's not authentic to who you are, which then starts to deteriorate you. But if you were in presence, you would, well, one, you'd probably realize that that person's not for you. But let's just say you are in presence with a person who also wants to be in presence. All these structures and certain values and virtues that you think you need to be in a relationship will probably dissolve into presence, and the values, virtues, and ways of being in relationship to your wife or your husband or your girlfriend or boyfriend will start to unfold in a much more authentic, present way. And your presence will emit that. Rather than performing, it's fake, it's acting, it's dramatic, which is not real, it's not true. Because when you tune in, it's like, fuck, I don't want to be doing that. That's not who I am. I just realized I got a fucking dinosaur thing. I keep forgetting. And this is, it's just something I've been thinking about. And then you go into even further, you go into social media spaces. And you've got all these people performing, coaches, facilitators, mentors, guides. The whole self-development and spiritual space is a bunch of actors and performers. Most of them are not embodying what they are displaying online. They're not putting in the shadow work or the consciousness work. They're not dissolving the limiting structures, or they're trying to ascend. They're trying to get out, rather than trying to bring God down or bring consciousness in and transform themselves in a much deeper way. And presence, someone's presence. It's like if you were if you're at the feet of a master, if you're around someone who'd put in a lot of work, right? And I've experienced this with people that I've worked with, and their presence makes the work they've done known. They don't have to perform or act or share or anything. It's just it's very obvious in their presence, the work they've done on themselves. And I think this is the big difference in this sort of world, is performance versus presence. This is something that I've battled with, performing and acting and being a certain way because this is how blah, 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 versus being authentic in my presence, in the work that I've done as far as I've gone. And I have a lot of people around me who have said things like they look up to me because of the work that I can do within myself, whilst being a father to 3 kids, 7 and under. Because that's a big feat for a lot of parents that are doing consciousness work with kids, because it's not easy. Because you're not just looking after yourself. It's like you just go, I'm going to go do a 90-minute meditation, and then after my 90 meditation, I'm going to go into the sauna for an hour. Then after the sauna for an hour, I'm going to go and do some journaling for half an hour. And then after the journaling, I'm going to go do some work. It's like you get up and you've got, my experience right now is my youngest child, my son, gets up at 6 a.m. or earlier and screams at the end of the bed, "Get up! Everyone get up!" Because we're all co-sleeping. So that's my experience. That's the first thing. Unless I get up at 5 or 4:45, so then I get time up to do some meditation work, which sometimes I will do, I'm getting woken up with my son needing some food, and then needing a book read, and then needing all these things. And that's my work. That's how I start to be authentic and be present and be there with him, but also with myself, because I'm doing the work in real time. Performance over presence. Because when we're present with life and we have our presence, we are being with what is in our life. As soon as we stop, if we're in performance, we want things to be different. We want to be doing something different. We want to be performing another task over here when you're being called right here now to do this task, to do this thing. But you'll be getting pulled over there. You'll be wanting to create a drama over there, acting, performing, when what's happening in front of you. And this is such a key to development, to your own self-development. It's just to discern when you'd be going into performance versus when you're in presence. Because when you're in presence, it feels more authentic, it feels more true, it feels more real. You actually feel more at ease. There might be a resistance to it because you're conditioned to need to perform. Often this is a schooling thing, or it's from childhood, from your parents, is you're needing to perform. You need to be a certain way, because otherwise if you're not being a certain way, you're not going to get loved, you're not going to be liked, you're not going to have connection. When you start to move into presence, you may have to face some darkness. You may have to face some shit. When we start to have those experiences of presence and sit there and be able to operate from that place, starts to feel far more authentic, far more easeful, far more who you are. So presence over performance. Because this, in my opinion, is what true spirituality is. Is presence, spiritual presence. So I was saying before about sitting at the feet of a master. Do you think they're performing? Yes, they might be performing rituals and they might be performing certain acts. And, to be honest, there's probably some out there that are literally just performing. But a lot of them have been doing that for many, many decades. So they're performing it with presence. It's not just performing without presence, acting. They are performing the act with presence. So maybe that's another way to look at it, is to perform the act with presence. Because with the absence of presence, that means there's the absence of God, absence of source flame. All you're doing is performing an act, which is fake, which is not real, which is not true, it's not who you are. Presence is the connection to God, to source, to what is real, what is good, what is true. But often we have multiple layers for us to have to go through, shadow, and sometimes light. Sometimes actually honoring your light, honoring your gifts, honoring what is good in you, so that you can be in your presence. So I'm going to leave that there. What is truly authentic is presence, being presence, and performing from that place. So presence over performance. So until next time, lots of love. Masculine rebirth out. You.